Life can be tough sometimes, can't it? There are moments when everything feels overwhelming, when challenges seem too big, and when hope feels like it's slipping away. But let me tell you something, no matter how dark things may seem, there is always a way forward. There is always a lesson to learn, a strength to discover, and a new perspective to embrace. Today, I want to share a story that might just change the way you see things. A story about resilience, wisdom, and the incredible power of shifting your mindset. So, sit back, relax, and take a deep breath. Let's go on this journey together. And as you listen, I'd love to hear your thoughts, so don't forget to share them in the comments below. Now, are you ready? Let's begin. Chapter 1, The Weight of Hopelessness. There was once a young boy who felt completely lost. No matter how hard he tried, he seemed to fail at everything. His dreams felt out of reach, his efforts went unnoticed, and every step forward felt like 2 steps back. Have you ever felt like that? Like the world is against you, and no matter how much you fight, you just can't win. One day, in his frustration, he wandered deep into the forest. He wanted to escape, even just for a moment, from the heavy burden he carried. As he walked, he stumbled upon an old man sitting on a rock. The man's eyes were wise yet kind, and there was something about his presence that felt calming. The boy hesitated for a moment before finally speaking. "I don't know what to do anymore," he admitted. "I've tried everything, but nothing works. I feel like a failure." The old man smiled gently and gestured for the boy to sit beside him. "Let me tell you something, young one," he said. "Life is not about winning or losing. It's about understanding, learning, and growing. But to do that, you must first change the way you see things." The boy frowned. "How can I change anything when everything around me is falling apart?" The old man chuckled softly. "That, my child, is the first thing you must unlearn. You see, nothing is truly falling apart. Everything is simply rearranging itself to teach you something. But if you keep looking at your struggles as punishment instead of lessons, you will always feel hopeless." The boy listened closely. Something inside him shifted. Could it really be that simple? Could his failures be teaching him instead of breaking him? Chapter 2, The Mirror of Wisdom. The old man reached into his bag and pulled out a small mirror. He held it up in front of the boy's face. "Tell me, what do you see?" "My reflection," the boy answered, confused. "Look closer," the old man urged. "Look beyond what's in front of you." The boy squinted, unsure of what he was supposed to find. "I still see myself," he said. "Exactly," the old man nodded. "Because no matter where you go, no matter how lost you feel, the person staring back at you is the only one who can change your life. Not your circumstances, not your failures, not the people around you, only you." The boy's heart pounded. He had spent so long blaming the world for his struggles that he never realized he had the power to change his own story. The old man placed the mirror in the boy's hands. "Keep this as a reminder. Every time you feel hopeless, look into it and ask yourself, what can I do differently? What lesson is hidden in this moment?" The answers will always be there, if you are willing to see them. For the first time in a long time, the boy felt something he hadn't felt before, hope. Not the kind that depended on luck or miracles, but the kind that came from within. The kind that could never be taken away. Chapter 3, The Power of Perspective. As the boy held the small mirror in his hands, he couldn't help but think about the old man's words. Could it really be that his struggles weren't there to break him but to teach him? Curious and eager to test this new way of thinking, he decided to return home with a different mindset. The next time he faced a problem, instead of feeling defeated, he asked himself, what can I learn from this? The first test came when he failed yet another exam at school. Normally, he would have been frustrated, maybe even given up. But this time, he thought, what if this failure is showing me something I need to change? Instead of seeing it as proof that he wasn't smart enough, he saw it as a sign that he needed to study differently. He realized he had been memorizing without truly understanding. So he changed his approach, asked more questions, and put in extra effort. The result? He passed his next test. It wasn't magic, and it didn't happen overnight. But by shifting his mindset from "why is this happening to me?" to "what is this trying to teach me?" he started seeing opportunities where he once saw obstacles. The old man's words echoed in his mind: "Nothing is falling apart. Everything is rearranging itself to teach you something." Chapter 4: The Strength Within. The real transformation, however, happened when the boy faced something even bigger: rejection. He had always dreamed of joining a prestigious academy, but when the results came in, his name wasn't on the list. For a moment, the familiar feeling of hopelessness crept in. He wanted to throw the mirror away and give up. But then, he remembered. Instead of sinking into despair, he asked himself, "What can I do differently? What lesson is hidden in this?" He thought about it carefully. Maybe he wasn't ready yet. Maybe this rejection wasn't the end but a sign that he needed to improve, to work harder, to grow. So instead of quitting, he used it as motivation. He practiced more, studied harder, and improved himself in ways he never had before. And when the academy opened applications again the following year, something incredible happened: he got accepted. Not because of luck. Not because things magically got easier. But because he refused to see failure as the end. Instead, he saw it as part of the journey.